We return now to Prince Harry, Journey to Invictus.
This was the only time in Prince Harry's life when his status as a prince didn't matter.
I haven't treated Harry Wales any differently from any of his colleagues.
For 10 years,
as soon as we get out here, LCJ's jacket's on, Dave jumps in the back.
Military duty outranked royal lineage.
For a large part of that time, if not all of it, I was one of the lads. I was one of them.
Oh, there it is.
Prince Harry was sort of pushed aside mainly by me, but also by them. And when you wear that uniform, you're part of that team.
And he saw frontline action.
3,
2. 2 tours in Afghanistan. His first in 2008 was cut short after 77 days.
People will know that I'm out here. No doubt I'll be a top target.
Word leaked on the internet and his cover was blown. Military brass deemed it too risky to have a royal among the rank and file.
I didn't see it coming. It's a shame. I'm so disappointed.
But by 2012, the soldier prince was back in Afghanistan, piloting an Apache attack helicopter.
Our job out here is to make sure the guys are safe on the ground. Now, if that means shooting someone and shooting at them, then we'll do it.
A gunner targeting and killing Taliban insurgents. Invictus, though, is where Captain Wales and Prince Harry converge.
After 10 years, knowing what those guys and girls have gone through, meeting so many of their families and knowing the background of how they've got to where they've got to, and also seeing some pretty horrendous stuff in Afghanistan as well. I know what these guys have been through. I've done the same training as them. I've done 2 tours of Afghanistan. I've seen some pretty bad stuff, and I've got really good friends in the military. So if you combine all that together, then what better way than to use my position to create a platform where they can shine and where they can use sport as part of the rehabilitation, not only for themselves but for their families as well.
It's interesting because you're 10 years in the Army. I wonder if that made the most free.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is a huge sense of freedom. And when I left the Army, people said, "Why did you leave?" I said, "Well, you know what? There's many reasons, but one of the reasons that I've never talked about is it can actually be quite selfish because, you know, depending on what your job and what your role is, you want to have fun, you want to drive a tank, you know, it's all the stuff that you end up.
It's also
doing.
an escape. Let's face it.
It is
I mean, I
also,
think it's one of the great ironies. You go to war to find freedom from a life in a box sort of thing.
Yeah, no, exactly. And once you put on that uniform, your identity or how people perceive you is certainly left behind. And I think once you're wearing that uniform and you're the same as everybody else. And I convinced myself for 10 years that while I was there, I was one of the lads, and I was doing a job and I had a role. And in order to do that role, I had to go through the same training as everybody else and to try and get to the top and try to be the best pilot, to do this, to do whatever it is. I was fortunate enough never to have to see my friend or colleague blown to pieces. I never had to be that person who had to put a tourniquet on my buddy to try and save his life and stop him from bleeding out. That's training kicking in, and those individuals have to do that on the battlefield, and then put that person on the helicopter and then carry on with the job. You have to cut emotion out of it. You have to. The training kicks in. This is the job. This is what we have to do, and then when it comes to carrying out, you know, operations, then you want to make sure that you're on the bus. You want to make sure you're on that plane flying over there, because for one reason and one reason only, you've done the training and you want to be there to help the guy and the girl, whoever it is, for the people, you know, your brothers left and right of you. That's what it comes down to.
And it came down to choosing his own destiny when he decided to leave military service in 2015 for full-time service as a royal.
I do have some experience soldiering, and the comradeship that comes with it is one of the things that I treasure most in life.
A life in transition, though, even for a prince, can be a rough road.
One of the hardest bits is when you hang up that uniform, you are taking your cloak of invincibility off. And for so many years and for so long, you've only ever known to think like you are invincible. And then all of a sudden, there's a chink in your armor. And people are scared. People freak out. But it's okay. While you're wearing that uniform, that's okay. But there are certain times, there is a certain time and a certain place where you have to come to terms with the fact that actually you need to talk to someone. You need help, whether it's physical, whether it's psychological. And just because that's all finished in certain areas, but still continuing in other areas, that doesn't mean that everybody's fixed and everybody's well.
Coming up.
Or having one kid can be a handful for anybody.
And later.
Did you learn earlier how to lock your emotions away?
Stay with us. Prince Harry, Journey to Invictus continues after this.